Hey, what's up? And welcome in to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com, looking for the Jonathan Hood Show. We cannot wait. Meat and Cheese Week, the playoff edition. The Chicago Bears taking on the Green Bay Packers. Cannot wait for Saturday because we got full coverage on ESPN 1000 and on the ESPN Chicago app. You got to check out Jeff and Tom and also Coach McKie. That's right. Jason McKie is going to be on the call as well. They're getting all those key interviews, and Coach Mack is with us right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. J Mac, as always, I appreciate the time.
No, thanks for having me, man. Always good talking with you, hanging out with you, man. So anytime I get the opportunity to talk ball, let's do it.
J Mac, before we talk about the Bears, I want to talk about I need to talk to Coach Mack. Is he there? Coach McKie, can I talk to him real quick from the Carmel Corsairs? Big week for you from a recruiting standpoint. And so high school football never stops. Someone's always stopping in the office, right?
Yeah, it's year round. I mean, it's obviously football season, so practice and games. But as soon as that's over, you get the little holiday break, and then it's off-season program. You're lifting, conditioning, and then college coaches. The recruiting window starts to open up. So, we've been blessed and fortunate enough at Carmel to have, really good men that are really good football players, very talented, high academic, high character individuals that are being recruited by some high-level coaches. So it's been a blast. It's a lot of work, but, having the opportunity to have these coaches come into our building and recruit our kids and to see our kids go on and earn, more opportunities it's a blessing. And that's what, coaching high school football is about. It's about development, but it's also, being able to develop your athlete into earning an opportunity, whether that's a academic scholarship, athletic scholarship. That's what the main goal is at the end of the day.
Jason, you've had to be able to talk to your players before a big game. If you're at Soldier Field before this game, what are you telling the Bears before this one against Green Bay?
Man, the funny thing is I heard what Colson Loveland told, what he said Coach Johnson told the guys, and in terms of, if you got a ticket booked or if you're planning a vacation, don't come in. And the funny thing is, I can't tell my high school kids that same thing, but I tell my high school kids, like, hey, if you're going to be late, if you're not going to, if you're going to, have, what through practice, then don't come out here. Just turn in your helmet and shoulder pads, because it's one thing to, to waste your teammates' time. It's another thing to disrespect the program by not giving your all. And the same thing with the Bears. Like, guys, like, you have an opportunity, to be in the playoffs after a long time, something that you've earned throughout the season. And if you're not ready to continue to move on, especially at home in front of Soldier Field, in front of the great Bears fans that we have, then there's a problem. You don't need to be in a Bears uniform. You don't need to show up. So I'm pretty sure those guys in the locker room, I've been around them all year, tremendous high character guys that have a belief in themselves and this coaching staff. So I believe everybody will show up on Saturday.
Yeah, J-Mac, we heard from Tracy Butler from ABC7 Eyewitness News, the meteorologist. We asked her about the weather forecast. Sounds like snow, sleet, rain, so it might be a wintry mix, right? Not necessarily overly cold, but just kind of a sloppy track. Well, no matter how sloppy it is, I expect for the Bears to run the football better than they did against the Lions. I want to see that ball running. I want Caleb to get his yardage too. I think that, for me, that's one of the keys for this game against the Packers. Just keep on chipping away. What do you think about that running game? You want more in this game against the Packers?
Yeah, I definitely want more. I think when you saw this Bears offense, especially throughout the season, especially after the bye week, when that run game was revved up, when guys were executing at high level and those running backs were, running that football with physicality, I think that was the fuel to this offense. And, when you have a great run game, what's the byproduct of that? That's having a great passing game. That's having a high efficient play action movement passing game. That's what Ben Johnson likes to implement, and you're able to make those explosive plays downfield via the pass. So yeah, everything's predicated on the run game. I think that in recent weeks, not saying the Bears have completely abandoned the run, but us as Bears fans, we know we love a good running back, we love a good running game, and I think we need to get that revved up, especially with the elements you talked about. Right, it's going to be a good mix. It's going to be like Garrett's popcorn. You got cheese, you got caramel, you got snow, you got rain, you got sleet. So, hey, Chicago weather and perfect weather to run that football is something that the Bears have done really well, at times this season.
Coming into the season, we all knew, J-Mac, that the Bears would have a plethora of weapons offensively for Caleb Williams. Man, second-year quarterbacks just don't get this, man. You just don't You don't just come into a season and be like, "Hey, I got you 4 or 5 wide receivers. I got 2 or 3 tight ends. You got 2 or 3 pass catching running backs." Like, you got a full arsenal. Usually, a veteran's got to wait a while to be able to get everything that he wants. Caleb got everything that he needs. I wonder about this game today, coming up on Saturday with Roma Dunzo returning. I just want Caleb to know, from me to him, like, you don't have to feed anyone in particular because you got so many people to go to. I wonder what does that look like with Roma Dunze coming back, in the mix for this offense.
Yeah, I mean it's another mouth to feed, and when you look at the amount of the talent that Caleb has around him, but you look at the way that the football has been spread around in this offense, right? It's a luxury to have so many weapons, right? And I know coaches and Ben Johnson has said this time and time again, right? From a coaching standpoint, we don't care who gets the high volume target share, right? It's all predicated on what the coverage dictates, what the defense dictates on that given Sunday or whenever, or Saturday or Monday or whenever they're playing.
Yeah.
And it just creates so many matchup problems for a defense because you can't necessarily just hone in on one particular player. You've got to play, the entire football field, and having weapons like you mentioned, having Rome back, Luther Burden coming into his own. You got all the rookies stepping up, Kyle Monunga, Colson Loveland. These rookies have played very well. It made a lot of big plays for this Bears team, and they're a big part of the reason why this Bears team's in the playoffs. So, having those weapons, but also you got to give Ryan Post credit to really be able to bring in, bolster the interior of this offensive line to give his quarterback time to be able to distribute the football to all these weapons. I mean, you look at Drew Dahlman, Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson. Those guys have played really well. They've been as good as advertised, and I feel like worth every penny that they got paid in the offseason. And, that's something that you rarely see, a team that brings in a lot of free agents, and all those free agents hit. This is a team that's brought in free agents, and they've hit this year. So it's just a testament to Ryan Poles, that scouting department, of doing a really good job of really, strengthening weaknesses that we've seen, throughout this Bears team from year in and year out. So it's exciting to see.
J-Mac, one thing I'm never going to do as a football fan is question the effort. You push those weights, you work out, you get into practice, you get in that film room because you work hard. I will question sometimes the result because the bottom line is, what does the box score say? When it comes to this defense, it is paramount for the Bears to be able to get something done defensively. The front line to me is connected to the linebackers in the secondary. Like, this has to happen. Could you give me a key to this defense? You're not going to slow down the Packers, and you're not going to stop the Packers, but you can at least slow them down. What can the defense do to just be able to keep the Bears in the ball game?
Yeah, I think first of all, you got to be more efficient on third down. This is a team that we've seen offenses have big days in terms of yardage totals against the Bears defense because the Bears have been inefficient on defense on third down, right? You look at back-to-back weeks in which you look at the 49ers game, they had 496 yards of total offense. You look at the Packers, not the Packers, I'm sorry, the Lions had over 400 yards of total offense. So it's a matter of, and I understand the result in terms of the score. They limited the amount of red zone opportunities, and the score didn't dictate the amount of yardage that these offenses were churning up on the defense. But, at the same time, like you're saying, you've got to be able to get on the field on third down. You got to be able to affect the quarterback, put pressure on the quarterback. So I think it's imperative for this front four to be able to get pressure. And, it's tough when you're not able to do that because you have to bring second level pressure in terms of bringing a linebacker, even third level pressure in terms of bringing a safety. And you don't want to do that because that affects the back end in terms of coverage. And we've seen how much trouble we had against the pass and coverage these past few weeks. So, I think the key to this game is, make Green Bay one-dimensional. They're going to try to run the ball with Josh Jacobs. But at the same time, Jordan Love, the first game, had a field day against his secondary throwing the football. And, he got knocked out of the second game because we were able to generate some pressure early on. But I think that's the key, being able to generate pressure with your front four in terms of this defense.
I saved this question for you all week. I could have talked to anyone else about this, but I want to ask you. See if tell me if I'm crazy. Okay, it's about Big Billings, right? Andrew Billings.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a such thing in football where you could tell Billings, "Hey, man, try to be able to time up and just kind of just shape up on the snap count. Like, if you get penalized for 5 yards, it won't hurt as much." Do you think that they told Billings, maybe not both times, but the one time they use offsides, "Hey, man, get there if you can"? Do you think that is a scheme? Is that something from the sideline? or is that just a mental mistakes? I feel like one of the times it's just him trying to just kind of
jump the
time it
snap
up.
count. Yeah. It's one thing. So here's the thing. You, as a defensive lineman, you're always going to try to time that snap count. And that's why offenses, right? Offensively, you try to use your snap count as a rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So you change the cadence. It's not the same rhythm because the defense will pick up on it. Good defenses, they'll pick up on it and they're going to jump on that snap count in terms of the rhythm of it. But I think at that point it was a mental mistake because that was a critical moment in the game, right? That extended another drive. And when you have a veteran make that mistake, especially, you know, as the nose, you're right over the football.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you jump when the football's right in front of you at a critical point of the game? So it's just a matter of, you know, the stakes are high, the emotions run high. You're trying to make a play. Like you said, Jay Hood, you're trying to jump that snap count, but at the same time, you got to be on side. So I think at that point, it was just a critical mental mistake.
I was trying to help Big Boy there. I was trying to help him, man.
Hey, Big Bill's a beast, though. He's made a ton of plays. And, you know, to his point, you know, I know that that's frustrating, especially coming from a veteran player. But at the same time, you know, they're going to need Big Bill, especially in the run game this week, because, you know, he's a guy who's he can command double teams. He can eat up double teams in terms of combination blocks that a lot of offenses try to they'll implement in their run game. You know, combination block, you know, driving that defensive tackle off the ball and then getting to the second level on a linebacker. Well, if you got a nose tackle like Big Billings, he can eat up two of those linemen, and that allows that linebacker to run free and make that tackle. So he's going to be huge this week in the run game and being able to make to stop that run by Green Bay.
One thing about Austin Booker, I want him on my football team because of his athleticism, but also I want him on my basketball team. Dude's got hops. He can block shots like Wembanyama. So I like that part of it. And it just kind of shows you still just trying to figure out the position, trying to figure out where he needs to be, but just his active hands and his hops, that helps. I know I want him to get after the quarterback and do that, but if nothing else, there's an activity with Booker that I like. It just says, you know what, he's going to be something at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's shown the ability to be able to have different ways of getting to the quarterback, right? He can beat you with speed off the line. He's shown the ability and the strength to be able to have an adequate bull rush at times to affect the quarterback. But the one thing that I like you said, about Book is if he's not actually getting to the quarterback, he has an uncanny ability in the timing to be able to jump up and bat a ball down to affect the passing lane by that quarterback. And that's huge because, you know, you get some defensive linemen, if they don't get to the quarterback, they're not putting their hands up. Yeah. And most of the time, the defensive line coaches, the good ones, are telling these D linemen, you don't get to the quarterback, put your hands up to affect the passing lane. And we've seen Book do that. Not only him, but a lot of these defensive linemen, they've been able to get their hands on a lot of footballs and bat them down. So that'll be huge as well. You know, being able to affect the pocket on the outside. But I think it's also huge for, you know, Javon Dexter. We talked about Big Bill to be able to dent the interior of that pocket so that way Jordan Love can't step up in the pocket and make plays when he's getting that edge pressure by Austin Booker and Montez Sweat. So the Bears defensive line, they have a big task ahead of them. And I think, you know, defensively, it's really going to come down to those guys being able to make plays consistently, stopping the run, but also being able to get consistent pressure on Jordan Love in that pocket.
J-Mac, what's it like in the postseason? You worked all regular season to get to this level. What's it like for you personally and for your team to be able to get to the postseason?
Yeah, man, it's awesome. Like, I remember the first year in 2005 that we were able to win the NFC North and go to the playoffs. It was a surreal moment. And it was like, wow, you know, everything that you've set out for, you know, going through off-season workouts, through mini camp, through OTAs, through training camp, and then you get to the season. It's like, wow, we made the playoffs. We're in the tournament, right? We haven't achieved our ultimate goal, but we're at least one of the teams in the tournament that's going to have an opportunity to achieve that goal of winning a Super Bowl. And it's definitely surreal. I remember not getting no sleep the night before that game because I was so excited. I was nervous. The adrenaline was flowing early. I didn't want to make a mistake, but I was excited the opportunity to go out there and make plays. And, you know, it's great to have that opportunity with your teammates who've been on that long journey and grind with you. But, you know, you could be one and done. And you don't want to be that guy that doesn't execute his 1/11th in terms of his responsibility, in terms of execution. You don't want to be that guy that makes a mistake that costs you a game. So it's you try to treat it as a normal week, but at the same time, there's a little bit more preparation that goes into it from a player standpoint. Hey, you're gonna second guess yourself. Hey, did I watch enough film? Did I lift enough weights? Did I do some extra conditioning? You know what I'm saying? And those things. And that's how it is. That's human nature. But I'm excited to see these guys go out and perform. As we know, Jay Hood, we've been a part of a lot of bad football, to say the least. I had to commentate with my guys, Jeff Jonig and Tom Thayer. We've had to talk about a lot of bad football for the past few years, but it's finally here. We finally get to broadcast a playoff game. This is my first playoff game getting the broadcast, so I'm excited about that. So I probably won't get no sleep either. I'm just not on the field wearing cleats. I have a microphone in my hand.
Well, I look forward to your early March vacation because while the Bears go this run and then the Super Bowl and then the parade and then afterwards, I mean, you can't go anywhere. You're staying in the city. You got no vacation plan, right?
Yeah, like hey, what Coach Johnson say? If you got vacation plans, don't show up. Hey, I'm rocking with you, Coach. I ain't got no ticket booked, Jay Hood. I'm gonna be right there with you with the microphone talking about these Bears victories.
It's funny that Sales asked me, he's like, hey, so how was your Christmas vacation? I'm like, Christmas vacation? It's Bears football. That's my vacation. Getting to the playoffs is my vacation. Everyone else is in like some Caribbean island and Florida and Arizona. I'm like, no, we didn't go anywhere. The Bears are the vacation. It's right here.
It's right here, man. Just think this time last year, we're talking about draft position and who we should draft. And like, man, this is such a treat for Bears fans. I'm so excited for the fans. I'm so excited for our station. I'm so excited to be a part of this our network and, the guys that we have, my teammates. So it's great times, man. It's a good time to listen to ESPN Chicago. It's a great time to cover it.
As always, man, I always appreciate your time, and I can't wait for Saturday so we can continue to talk about Bears football. Bears need to win this one, and they will win this one. Got that feeling, man. Got a great feeling about it.
Yes, sir. Bear down. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. Jason McKie with us here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Great to hear from Jason McKie from ESPN Chicago, does a sideline and also analysis for the Chicago Bears radio network. Hope that you get a chance to listen to Jeff Tom and Jason McKie on the broadcast on ESPN Chicago. By the way, we are presented by Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. NHSchicago.org is where you go for Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago. They've served the community for well over 50 years. You're looking to get yourself a new home for 2026. You want to learn about the home buying process, the lending, all of that, the education, man, it's all there. Neighborhood Housing Services of Chicago, NHSchicago.org. That's where you go. Tell them Jay Hood sent you. We've got so much on the college football playoff that we have from Charles Arbuckle, friend of ESPN, and does a great job of breaking down college football with us. So the Final Four he talks about the Chicago Bears and the matchup against the Packers. Also, the controversial Kyle Wallace from ESPN Milwaukee. Bears fans don't like him, and I just reel him in, man. I just reel him in. Oh, it's a fascinating conversation I have with Kyle Wallace from ESPN Milwaukee, getting his thoughts about how Packers fans feel about the matchup against the Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. So look forward to you checking out that conversation with Kyle Wallace. And we've got Ken Davis with us. We've got my cousin Wiley. So we've provided a lot of content right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Hope that you get a chance to like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do. We are blown up because of you. So thank you so much for checking out the podcast and checking out YouTube, Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So long, everybody. Bear down. Bear down. Hey, gifts. Get yourself. Should remind me. Yeah, look at that. We've got mugs. We got beanies. We've got trucker hats. It's all in the link tree. Check it out. We got merch. How about that?